I really believe we're probably, Mr. President, by far closer than ever before with both parties.
President Trump signaling optimism that the Ukraine-Russia war could soon be over. The president saying the two countries are closer than ever to a peace deal while meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky face-to-face yesterday at Mar-a-Lago, and also having a second phone conversation with Russian President Putin earlier today. NewsNation's Kelly Myers live for us at the White House following it. Also, Kelly, are we closer to seeing an end to the war in Ukraine?
So that's what President Trump is saying, and he did say that he spoke with both Russian President Vladimir Putin today and is expected to speak again with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We do know that Zelensky also spoke with his special envoy, Steve Witkoff. We do also know that call with Putin, the White House press secretary described as, quote, positive. So we do know that the president right now is obviously having that meeting with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But at that table is Steve Witkoff, who is very much involved in that conversation with Zelensky and others. We also are hearing more about this alleged attempted attack on Putin's residence. The Russian foreign minister claimed that Ukraine was the one that attempted an attack on Putin's home, which Ukraine and Zelensky denied. But President Trump did address that just moments ago. Listen to this.
It's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they're offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that, and can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin.
So he says he learned about it from President Putin, but again, Zelensky has denied that Ukraine had any part in that. And we are also learning more about what's going on in Venezuela. On the other side of the world, President Trump also pressed there on the strike on a facility in Venezuela, which would mark the first known time that the U.S. has carried out operations on land in Venezuela, something that the president has been threatening for quite a long time since that pressure campaign began against Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro. Here's what the president had to say about that today.
There was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs. So we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
So the president saying there that they struck around the dock, which is the boats that carry the drugs, he says, into the U.S. We know those strikes ongoing on those alleged drug boats coming into the country. President Trump also said there that he spoke with Maduro, quote, pretty recently. Nichole.
All right. So Kelly, as President Trump continues to focus on other parts of the world, China is now picking up with military exercises around Taiwan. What more can you tell us there?
Yeah, and it's interesting as President Trump is keeping his eye on other conflicts around the world, from Venezuela to Israel and Gaza and Hamas, as well as Ukraine and Russia. We're watching what's unfolding around Taiwan today. Now, this isn't exactly a new focus for China. The country has wanted Taiwan for decades as it sees the island as its own. But the latest escalation comes less than 2 weeks after the Trump administration approved the largest ever arms sale, an $11 billion arms package for Taiwan, and that prompted China to impose sanctions on Boeing and other U.S. firms. So today, China's military conducted live-fire military drills in what a Chinese official said marked a, quote, stern warning against Taiwan independence. The Chinese called the operation, quote, Justice Mission 2025. Taiwan is condemning the move, saying its armed forces are on high alert after spotting 2 Chinese military aircraft and 11 ships around Taiwan. The response from China, also a reaction to Trump's arms sale to Taiwan. The president, we know, met with China's leader, Xi Jinping, during his trip to South Korea not too long ago, and the two did agree to visit each other's respective countries in the coming years. So no word yet from the White House on this latest escalation by China, and we did not hear from President Trump, at least for now, in those questions around what happened today as China continues its drills around Taiwan. Nichole.
All right, Kelly Meyer live for us there in D.C. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.